She sat across from her friend with a smile that looked like confidence but felt underneath like a shield polished after years of silent wounds. Every achievement she listed, her income, her independence, her mastery of roles once reserved for men, echoed like iron plates, clicking into place over a heart that had learned not to be touched. Her voice rose as if she needed the entire room to validate her worth, as if volume could quiet the faint loneliness humming behind her ribs. And when she finally confessed, "Why can't I find a normal man?" it sounded less like confusion and more like a cry from the part of her soul she rarely allowed to speak. Her friend offered the familiar explanation. Men fear strong women, a comforting myth that kept them both from looking into deeper, darker waters. But something in the woman's eyes flickered, as if she suddenly sensed that fear wasn't the real barrier, that something inside her was pushing connection away long before any man ever could. What if the true conflict isn't between men and strength, but between her armor and her longing? And what happens when the armor starts to feel heavier than the battles it was meant to fight? Most men don't walk into a date wearing armor. They arrive with quiet hope, searching for softness, safety, and a glimpse of emotional refuge. Yet many find themselves sitting across from a woman whose energy feels like a silent challenge, as though every topic must prove she needs nothing from anyone. Instead of the gentle rhythm of getting to know one another, the air becomes sharp, charged, like two warriors circling the same fire without sharing its warmth. It's as if he came prepared for a slow dance, only to meet someone standing in a fighter's stance, waiting for the next verbal strike. In that tension, intimacy has no room to bloom. Trust cannot root itself in soil that feels hostile. The tragedy is that neither person intends to fight. They're simply trapped in roles shaped by old wounds, outdated advice, and silent fears of vulnerability. But what if the battle they're fighting isn't with each other, but with the ghosts of expectations they never questioned? And what if recognizing this is the first step toward the connection they both secretly crave? Deep beneath our polished modern selves, the male and female minds still carry ancient, wiring, quiet instincts shaped long before language or cities existed. The male psyche leans toward direction, systems, and the ability to narrow his focus like an arrow aimed at a single target. The female psyche expands outward, absorbing emotional signals, subtle shifts, and the silent tremors in the atmospheres others overlook. Together, they were designed like two roles on a ship, one guiding the course, the other ensuring the crew's spirit doesn't fracture during the journey. But today, both try to do both, and instead of harmony, the ship begins to drift, pulled by two captains who fear surrendering even a small piece of control. In the deep inner landscape of relationships, this conflict is not about superiority at all. It's about instincts colliding with modern expectations that deny their existence. So what happens when two navigators argue over the same map, each convinced surrender means losing themselves? And what if the ship is already drifting, waiting for someone to remember the power of complement rather than competition? Many women pour their youth into building success, believing that if men are valued for status and achievements, mirroring that path will place them on equal ground. They collect accomplishments like precious stones, imagining each one will glow in the eyes of a future partner. But attraction doesn't speak the language of resume. It listens to subtler, older signals carried in tone, energy, and emotional presence. A man may admire her discipline, respect her strength, even applaud her journey, yet his heart remains unmoved by the trophies she carefully displays. Just as a woman wouldn't feel desire swell because a man can choose curtains perfectly, a man doesn't feel drawn closer by traditionally masculine triumphs in a woman's life. At a subconscious level, both genders seek something spiritual, elemental, qualities that whisper connection, not competition. So what happens when a woman climbs the mountain expecting love at the summit, but finds only silence? And what if she's been speaking the wrong language of attraction without ever realizing it? She spent years climbing the corporate ladder, believing each rung would finally bring her closer to the life she secretly imagined, a life with warmth, connection, and someone to come home to. With every promotion, every victory over competitors, she felt a strange hollowness expanding inside her, as if her soul was paying a quiet price no one warned her about. She surpassed men who once intimidated her, yet the men she actually wanted to love seemed unmoved, untouched by her ascent. It felt like standing at the peak of a mountain she fought tooth and nail to conquer, only to realize she was the only one who ever intended to be there. The men she outperformed simply continued their lives, unburdened, while she stood in triumph that tasted unexpectedly like loneliness. Her professional success filled her with pride, yet emotionally she felt like a traveler who arrived at the destination only to discover she had walked in the wrong direction. But what if the summit she chased was never the one that led to love? And what happens when a woman realizes she won a race she never truly wanted to run? In her 20s, time felt infinite. An open sky stretched endlessly above her, whispering that love, family, and closeness could wait until she was ready. But as the years passed, the sky slowly narrowed, and the quiet ticking beneath her ambitions grew louder, like a distant drum calling her back to herself. At 30, she still believed she had space. At 35, she convinced herself that stability must come first. At 40, she began to sense an ache she couldn't quite name. Watching old classmates with families and shared memories, she felt a sudden tremor inside, as if she'd been running toward victory while her heart had been walking in the opposite direction. For so long, she insisted she needed no one, not realizing that this mantra was less empowerment and more armor, forged from cultural noise and unexamined fears. Studies show that despite outward success, many women who choose only the career path feel an unexpected loneliness bloom inside them, slow, quiet, and undeniable. But what if the real struggle was never against time, but against a story she was taught to believe? And what happens when the heart wakes up and asks a question ambition can't answer? He once believed he had met a rare woman, brilliant, magnetic, full of life, and at first, her strength felt like a beautiful fire he wanted to warm himself beside. But slowly conversations turned into subtle contests, as if each moment required her to prove she was untouchable, unbreakable, beyond needing anyone. When he admitted exhaustion, she countered with a story of her heavier burdens. When he fixed something for her, she reminded him she could have done it faster. Her independence became a fortress so tall that even his genuine care bounced back like an echo trapped inside stone walls. After 2 years, he realized he didn't feel appreciated. He felt invisible, like a ghost standing beside a woman who had no room left for his presence. He didn't leave because she was strong, but because her strength left no space for him to exist in his own masculine essence. But what happens when a man finally accepts her unspoken message that she needs no one? And what if the moment he steps away is the moment she realizes she built a castle no heart could enter? When a woman spends years surviving through strength, her nervous system begins to forget the language of softness, as if gentleness were a dialect she once spoke but can no longer recall. The masculine mode she mastered at work bleeds quietly into her relationships, turning every interaction into something structured, evaluated, and scored. Instead of reaching for connection, she reaches for control, monitoring who invests more, who sacrifices more, who carries more weight. But the deeper tragedy is that she doesn't even realize she's doing it. The armor fused so tightly to her skin that vulnerability now feels like danger instead of intimacy. Men don't crave a flawless warrior. They crave a woman who can exhale beside them, who can be human rather than invincible. And the moment she finally allows even a sliver of vulnerability to slip through, many men respond not with dominance, but with relief, as if they were waiting for her heart to come home. But what if she has worn the armor for so long that taking it off feels like losing herself? And what if softness, not strength, is the key that unlocks the connection she's been starving for? Modern freedom hands women the world. Careers, travel, education, Choices that were unimaginable a generation ago, but it often comes with an unspoken expectation. Be like a man to be complete. Many believe empowerment means mirroring the male path, forgetting that true strength is not imitation, but authenticity. Genuine freedom is the courage to ask, quietly and honestly, what do I truly desire? Rather than repeating scripts written by culture, peers, or outdated ideals. A woman can run a corporation and still crave tenderness at home. She can be decisive in the boardroom and receptive in her private life without contradiction. Society may label one path ambitious and another soft, but both are valid expressions of a human life lived fully and honestly. Real equality isn't about identical roles. It's about honoring choices without judgment and embracing the rhythms that resonate deep within one's soul. But what if all the shoulds she's carried were illusions? And what if true freedom and true love only appear when she stops competing with the world and starts listening to herself? When competition fades, love becomes a sanctuary, not a battlefield, where both can lower their shields and breathe. Like an orchestra, each plays a different instrument. The violin and drum, the flute and trumpet, none superior, none diminished, only harmonizing. Differences are not flaws. They are the threads that weave intimacy, trust, and attraction into a tapestry far richer than similarity ever could. When both embrace their true roles, the relationship transforms into a space of growth, support, and mutual reverence, not a contest of wills. So what if the key to lasting love isn't proving strength, but offering space? And what if the moment we stop competing is the moment the heart finally feels at home?